He found a note in his wall. What he did next was insane. It started with a sound, a soft, hollow thud behind the drywall of an old house that had stood silent for years. The man who lived there, Daniel Reyes, had bought the place cheap after it sat abandoned for over a decade. It needed work, but he was handy. He figured he could fix it up and flip it for a profit. The first few days were normal. Dusty floors, broken pipes, creaky floorboards, nothing unusual. But on the third night, while working late in the living room, he heard it again, that same thud, like something had fallen inside the wall. He stopped what he was doing, listened. Nothing. He tapped the wall. Hollow sound, like there was space behind it. That's when he grabbed his tools. Daniel wasn't the type to ignore strange noises. He was curious, maybe even too curious. He got a small sledgehammer and gently tapped at the drywall, just enough to make a hole big enough to see through. What he saw made him freeze. Inside the wall was a small sealed compartment, and inside that, a folded piece of paper. He reached in carefully and pulled it out. The paper felt old, brittle almost, like it hadn't seen daylight in decades. He unfolded it slowly. There were no fancy words, no introduction, just 3 short sentences written in neat block letters. They know you're here. Don't trust anyone. Run before they find you. Daniel stared at the message. His heart pounded. Who wrote this? How long had it been hidden in the wall? He looked around the empty room. Was someone watching him right now? He didn't know what to think. He took a picture of the note, posted it online in a few forums asking if anyone recognized the handwriting or had any idea what it meant. Most people laughed it off, said it was a prank, maybe from the previous owners, or some teenager messing around. But then came the messages. One by one, strangers started commenting under his post. Please tell me where you found that. I've been looking for this for years. If you don't leave that house, you're going to disappear like the others. Daniel read them again and again. None of them knew each other. They were from different states, different time zones, and all of them seemed terrified. He should have stopped there, should have walked away, but instead he went back into the house. Something about the note wouldn't let him go. Who left it? Why hide it in the wall? And most importantly, who were they? He decided to dig deeper. He checked the attic first, found nothing but dust and old furniture. Then the basement, same thing, boxes, cobwebs, silence. But when he returned to the wall where he found the note, he noticed something he hadn't before, a second hollow spot, right beside the first one. His hands shook as he broke through. Another compartment, another note, this one shorter than the last. You shouldn't be reading this. That's when Daniel realized he wasn't just dealing with a prank. He was following a trail someone had left behind, a trail that might lead to something far worse than he imagined. He looked down at the note again. Then he heard it, a sound outside, like footsteps, on the porch. Daniel stood frozen, the note still in his hand. The house creaked around him like it always did. But this sound was different. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't the pipes. It was footsteps, slow, heavy, deliberate. He turned off the flashlight on his phone and crept toward the front door. His heart pounded so loud he could barely hear anything else. The porch light had been on when he came inside. Now it was off. He peeked through the blinds. Darkness. But something moved just beyond the edge of the yard. A shadow. Tall. Still. Then nothing. Just silence again. Daniel backed away from the window and sat on the floor trying to catch his breath. He looked back at the 2 notes lying on the table. They know you're here. Don't trust anyone. Run before they find you. And now this, someone outside. Was it a coincidence? He didn't think so. The next morning, Daniel went online again. He posted about what happened, about the second note, about the footsteps. This time, the comments were different, more urgent, more scared. One user messaged him directly. You're not the first to find those notes. I found one too, a long time ago. I ignored it. I should have listened. Daniel replied right away. Where did you find yours? The reply came fast. Same spot, same wall, And if you're seeing things now, then it's already started. Daniel stared at the screen. His hands felt cold. Started, he whispered. He typed again. What do you mean started? No reply. Just a profile that suddenly went offline. Forever. Daniel couldn't sleep that night. Every sound made him jump. Every creak felt like a warning. At 3:12 a.m., his phone buzzed. Unknown number. Text message. Leave the house. Now. He shot up in bed. Checked the windows. Everything locked. No sign of movement outside. He called the number. Voicemail. Only one word spoken at the end. Run. That was it. No name. No voice he recognized. Just that single word. He packed a small bag, grabbed the notes, left the house. He didn't look back. Daniel drove for hours. Didn't stop until he reached the city. Found a cheap motel, and checked in under a fake name. He thought he was safe. He thought wrong. The next morning there was a knock at the door. He opened it a crack. Empty hallway. On the floor, a folded piece of paper. He picked it up with shaking hands. Written in the same block letters. You can't run from them. Daniel dropped the note like it burned him. He grabbed his things and left the room without looking back. Back home. Or what used to be home. Daniel started digging deeper into the history of the house. Old records showed the place had changed hands 5 times in 30 years. Each owner disappeared within a year. Some vanished without a trace. Others were found dead. No cause listed. One woman was last seen walking into the basement. She never came out. Another man was found in his car, eyes wide open, mouth frozen in a scream. No signs of struggle. No injuries. Just gone. Daniel kept going. Found an old newspaper article from 1987. Headline. Local man claims house is calling to him. Disappears days later. Inside the story, a photo of a man named Marcus Green. Daniel blinked. Something clicked. Marcus looked familiar. Too familiar. He pulled up the picture again. Then he looked at himself in the bathroom mirror. Same jawline. Same eyes. Same scar above the eyebrow. It was like looking at his older brother, or his father, except Daniel had no family. He was adopted as a child, never knew his birth parents. Until now. Daniel stared at the screen, heart racing. Could Marcus Green be related to him? He searched harder, found a birth certificate buried in old county records. Parent names. Father, Marcus Green. Mother, unknown. Daniel's full name was Daniel Reyes. Born in 1995, adopted at birth. His stomach twisted. If this was real, then Marcus Green was his biological father, and he had vanished after claiming the house was calling to him. Daniel needed answers. He had to go back, even if it meant facing whatever was waiting for him. He returned to the house at dusk. Sky dark, wind cold. He stepped inside. Everything exactly as he'd left it. Notes still on the table. Phone silent. He walked straight to the wall where he found the first note, tapped it, still hollow. He took out his tools again, not afraid anymore. He broke through. Another compartment, another note, this one newer than the others, written in pencil, smudged, shaky handwriting. He tried to warn me. I didn't listen. Now they're coming for you. Daniel swallowed hard. Who wrote this? Someone who knew Marcus, someone who died because of it. He turned the paper over. There was more. Faint writing in the corner, almost invisible. He held it up to the light. 3 words. Find the basement. Daniel's hands shook. He hadn't fully explored the basement yet, only glanced around once. Didn't want to stay down there long, but now he had no choice. He grabbed a flashlight and descended the stairs. Each step echoed. Dust filled the air. At the bottom he swept the beam around. Boxes, old furniture, rusted tools. Then he saw it. A small hatch in the floor, covered with a thick layer of dust, like no one had touched it in years. He knelt down, pulled it open. Darkness below. He shined the light. A ladder, leading down, farther than he expected. He hesitated, then climbed. The tunnel stretched beneath the house, cold, tight, claustrophobic. He moved slowly, flashlight in one hand, note crumpled in the other. After 10 steps, the tunnel opened into a small room. Stone walls, metal shelves, and in the center, a chair, bound with straps, worn leather, stains on the floor, blood. He backed away, heart pounding. Then he noticed the wall behind the chair, dozens of notes, all pinned up, same block letters, same warnings. Some were decades old, some were recent. One caught his eye, fresh ink, new paper. It read, "Welcome home, Daniel." He spun around, alone, silence, but the air felt heavier, like someone had just left. He looked back at the note, then down at the floor. There, near the chair, was a small box. He picked it up, opened it. Inside was a key, and another note, 2 words, "The attic." Daniel stood in the basement, staring at the note. The attic. Just 2 words, but they sent a chill down his spine. He looked around one last time before climbing back up the ladder. The room below felt wrong, like it wasn't meant to be found. Back inside the house, he locked the basement door behind him. He didn't want anything following him upstairs. Not that he thought it was possible, but after everything he'd seen, nothing seemed impossible anymore. He grabbed a flashlight and made his way to the attic. The hatch was in the hallway ceiling. He pulled it down, unfolded the stairs, and climbed up slowly. Dust filled the air. Old boxes lined the walls, a broken rocking chair, an old television, and in the far corner, a small wooden chest. Daniel walked over and picked it up. It was light, no lock. He opened it carefully. Inside were more notes, dozens of them, all written in the same block letters. Some were faded, some were faded, some were newer. One on top caught his eye. It read, "You're not the first, you won't be the last. They choose who sees the truth. Now you must decide. Will you run, or will you become one of them?" Daniel's hands trembled. He dropped the note and looked through the rest. Names, dates, places, all connected to people who had lived in the house. Each one vanished, each one tied to the same message. "They are watching." He backed away from the chest. His breath came fast. He needed to leave, now, but then he saw something else, tucked under the chest. A photograph, faded, 2 people standing in front of the house. One was Marcus Green, his biological father. The other, a woman, young, familiar. He blinked, then stared harder. Her eyes, her nose, her smile. It was like looking at himself. She was family, but he had never seen her before. On the back of the photo, one line was written, "Don't trust what you see." Daniel swallowed hard. What did that mean? Was this woman real? Was she still alive? Or was she another victim? He needed answers, more than ever. That night, Daniel stayed in the house. He didn't sleep. He sat in the living room with all the notes spread out around him, trying to find a pattern, trying to make sense of it all. At 2:47 a.m., his phone buzzed. Unknown number again. Same as before. Text message. "You found the photo." Daniel's heart stopped. He looked at the screen, then at the photo in his hand. Whoever sent this knew where he was, knew what he had found. He typed fast. "Who are you?" No reply, just another message. "She was your sister." Daniel gasped. Sister? He didn't have a sister. He was adopted alone, unless she had been taken too. Another message came. "They took her when she got too close." Daniel jumped up, looked around the room. Empty, silent, but he could feel it. Something watching, waiting. He grabbed his phone and called the only person he could think of, his adoptive mother. "Hey sweetheart," she said. "You okay?" "I need to know something," Daniel said. "Did I have a sibling?" There was a pause, a long one. Then she whispered, "Where did you hear that name?" Daniel's stomach dropped. "You knew." "We were told not to talk about her," she said quietly. "We were told it was best if you forgot." "Why?" he asked. "Because she disappeared the same way Marcus did." Daniel's knees buckled. He sat down hard. "What do you mean?" She started asking questions. His mom said, "About the house, about your birth parents. Then one day, she just left. We never saw her again." Daniel stared at the photo. His sister vanished, just like the others. The next morning, Daniel packed everything, notes, photos, everything he had collected. He wasn't staying in that house any longer. He drove straight to the library, spent hours going through old records, newspapers, police reports. Buried deep in a microfilm archive, he found an article from 1989, 2 years after Marcus disappeared. Headline: Local girl vanishes after investigating family home. Photo attached. Her face, his sister, name listed Emily Green. He read the story. She had gone into the house, found the same notes, the same warnings, then she was gone. Last known location, the basement, just like Marcus, just like the others. Daniel closed the file, heart pounding. He had to go back, had to finish this, even if it meant facing whatever was waiting for him. He returned to the house. Night had fallen, wind howled through the trees. He stepped inside, closed the door. No lights, just the moonlight filtering through the windows. He went straight to the basement, opened the hatch, climbed down. The tunnel felt colder than before, like the air itself was warning him. He reached the hidden room. The chair, the notes, the stains. He turned toward the box near the chair. The key was still there. He picked it up, then heard a sound, soft, behind him, breathing. He spun around. No one, just silence, but now the air felt heavier, thicker. Wrong. He looked down at the key. Maybe it unlocked something else, something deeper. He searched the walls, pushed against the stone. One section gave way, a hidden passage, dark, narrow. He stepped inside, flashlight shaking in his hand. The tunnel curved, opened into another room, larger, filled with more notes, more photos, more names, and in the center, a mirror, cracked, dirty. But when Daniel stepped closer, he saw something move. Not him, something behind him. He turned, nothing, just empty space. He looked back at the mirror. This time, someone stood behind him. A figure, wearing a hood, face hidden. Daniel screamed, backed away, tripped, dropped the flashlight. Light flickered. In the dim glow, the figure stepped forward, reached out, and whispered one word: "Welcome home." Daniel scrambled to his feet. The flashlight flickered again, then died. Darkness swallowed the room. He could still feel the figure behind him, still hear its breath, slow, steady, not afraid, waiting. Daniel backed away, hands out in front of him, heart slamming against his ribs. He couldn't see anything, but he could feel it, the presence, the weight of something that didn't belong. Then a sound, a whisper: "You were always coming back." Daniel turned and ran, burst through the tunnel, lungs burning, legs shaking. He didn't stop until he reached the basement stairs, climbed fast, pushed open the hatch, collapsed onto the cold floor above. Silence. The house was quiet again, too quiet. He looked around, everything exactly as he left it. Notes on the table, flashlight beside him. His breath came in short bursts. Had that really happened? Was someone in there with him? Or had his mind finally cracked under everything? He stood slowly, needed air, needed to think. He walked to the front door, pulled it open, and froze. Standing on the porch was the same hooded figure, just watching, not moving, not speaking. Daniel stepped back, slammed the door shut, locked it, heart pounding. He backed away from the door, looked around the room. There had to be a way out, a way to escape. He grabbed his phone. No signal. Of course. He went to the windows, all dark outside, no streetlights, no cars, just trees, and the wind. Then he saw it, a light in the distance, faint, blinking, like a signal. Maybe help, maybe not, but he had no other choice. Daniel packed what little he had, took the notes, took the photo of Emily, took the key. He opened the back door slowly, listened, nothing, just the wind. He slipped outside. The night was cold. Stars scattered across the sky. He followed the blinking light, through the tree, over uneven ground. Every step felt heavier than the last. The deeper he went, the darker it got, until the forest swallowed him whole. After what felt like hours, he reached the source of the light, an old cabin, wooden, weathered, smoke rising from the chimney. Someone was inside. Daniel hesitated, knocked. No answer. He pushed the door open. Inside was warm, fire crackling in the hearth, a table covered in papers, photos, maps, names, all familiar, all connected, and sitting at the table was a woman, older, tired eyes. She looked up at him, didn't seem surprised, You found the house, she said quietly. Daniel stared. How do you know about the house? She stood slowly, walked over to a shelf, grabbed a worn notebook, opened it. Inside were more notes, same handwriting, same warnings. She looked at him. I lived there once. Daniel's breath caught. Who are you? She closed the book. My name is Clara. She pointed at the photo in Daniel's hand. That's your sister. Daniel nodded. She disappeared. Clara's face fell. She tried to run. Daniel took a step closer. What happened to her? Clara looked away. I don't know. I just know. She got too close. Daniel sat down, put the photo on the table. I saw something in the basement, he said. A figure. It said I was coming home. Clara stiffened. You're not the first to see them, she whispered. But you might be the only one who can stop them. Daniel frowned. Stop who? Clara looked him in the eye. The ones who take people. Daniel swallowed hard. Why me? Clara opened the notebook again. This started long before you were born. Before Marcus. Before Emily. She flipped through pages. There's a pattern. A cycle. Every few years someone finds the notes. Someone gets too close. She looked up. And every time they disappear. Daniel leaned forward. So how do I break the cycle? Clara hesitated. There's a place, she said, deep in the woods, behind the house. No one ever goes there. Daniel waited. It's where it all began. Daniel stood. I have to go there. Clara shook her head. You won't come back. Daniel looked at the photo of his sister. I already lost her, he said. I'm not losing myself too. The next morning, Daniel followed Clara's map. It led him deep into the forest, past the house, past the clearing, until he reached a place marked only by a single stone. It was weathered, covered in moss. On the side, carved into the rock, a symbol, 3 lines, crossed in the middle. Daniel had seen it before. In the basement, on the wall. He knelt beside the stone, dug at the dirt. Something clinked beneath his fingers. He pulled it out. An old metal box, rusted. He opened it carefully. Inside was another note, newer than the others, written in pencil, smudged, shaky. They are not human. They watch. They wait. They choose who sees. If you're reading this, you've already been chosen. Daniel's hands trembled. He looked around. The forest was silent, too silent. Then he heard it. A voice, soft, behind him. You shouldn't be here. He turned. Empty tree, wind blowing. But he knew, he wasn't alone anymore.